Muscles need different fibers for different movements and the duration that they want to use the muscle. There are three different types of movements. There are slow oxidative fiber, the fast oxidative glycolytic, and fast glycolytic. If someone would want to do a marathon, the muscle fibers that would be used are the slow oxidative fibers. This is because these fibers have low intensity, which means they will tire more slowly. This will enable the marathon runner to be able to run with more energy. If someone wanted to do an 800-meter race, the fibers being used would be the oxidative glycolytic fibers. The runner would not be sprinting or jogging in this race, therefore these fibers have medium intensity, which means that the muscles will be contracting faster than the slow oxidative fibers. However, if you wanted to do a sprint, then the fibers being used would be the fast glycolytic fibers. This has high intensity, so the muscle will contract faster, but it will tire easier. That's why you can't sprint for a long time. The slow oxidative fibers will be the smallest in diameter, whereas the fast glycolytic fibers will be the largest. As slow oxidative fibers last for a long time, they need a lot of oxygen. Therefore, these fibers have a lot of capillaries, so more and more oxygen can be given to them. The fast oxidative glycolytic fibers also have capillaries, but not as much as the slow oxidative fibers. However, the fast glycolytic fibers do not have capillaries, so they are used anaerobically. More nutrients, such as myoglobin, is stored a lot in slow oxidative fibers, as well as mitochondria, hemoglobin, whereas fast oxidative glycolytic have some, and the fast glycolytic have none. Slow oxidative fibers use aerobic respiration, whereas fast glycolytic use anaerobic respiration. Fast oxidative glycolytic use both. In the fibers, they contain myosin. This is a filament in the sarcomere of the muscle. This breaks down ATP. The fast glycolytic fibers have more of these myosin because they need to contract their muscles faster, so more myosin is stored, which quickens the movements, which breaks down more ATP. Finally, the slow oxidative fibers are red as they contain more capillaries, which are red, exchanging that oxygen to the muscle cells. The fast oxidative glycolytic fibers are also red due to capillaries inside them. Both fibers have mitochondria, which also cause that red colour. This is different to the fast glycolytic fibers, as these are white and they do not have capillaries or mitochondria, as they obviously work anaerobically. These fibers' functions are to cause movement, but in different ways depending on how hard people want to use them. Aerobic respiration lasts longer than anaerobic respiration. Therefore, the slow oxidative fibers last longer than the fast glycolytic fibers. For a muscle to contract, it needs to go through a very long process to do so. However, the process is so fast that it's an instant response to what the muscle has been told to do. If someone wants to kick a football, the brain will receive information from the eyes, which are sensory organs. After the brain has gathered this information, it sends an impulse down the spinal cord in the central nervous system. Then the impulse travels down a motor neuron where salturity conduction takes place. This is where the impulse will jump over the myelin sheath of the neuron to speed up the impulse. The impulse then gets sent to neuromuscular conjunction. This is where a neurotransmitter called ACH is inside a muscle fibre and is held by vesicles which are also in the muscle fibre. And this transfers the impulse from the end of the neuron through a synapse, where the impulse goes through a T-tubule into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, where calcium is stored. This calcium then gets released when actin binding site is held, covered with troponin and tropomyosin. The calcium will pull away the troponin and tropomyosin, where the actin binding site will connect to the myosin, creating a cross bridge into the sarcomere of the muscle. This is where actin and myosin will bind by the sliding filament theory. The actin and myosin are two filaments in the muscle sarcomere, and where a muscle either contracts or relaxes, the two filaments will slide over each other, changing the position of the muscle. This makes the muscle move when the footballer wants to kick the ball. When a muscle wants to relax, calcium will simply go back to the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and actin and myosin will slide to its original position, where the muscle will no longer be contracted. The neuromuscular junction is a very crucial part to the muscle contraction. A nerve travels through the motor neuron towards a muscle fibre by splitting into branches. The nerve will reach vesicles of the muscle fibre which contains ACH. ACH is a neurotransmitter that carries the impulse by bumping into receptors that will cause the nerve to transfer to the presynaptic membrane and then the postsynaptic membrane. Then this impulse will go into the sarcomere of the muscle cell. When the impulses reach the sarcomere will shorten. This is due to the Z lines on the end of the sarcomere closing in. However, two filaments in the sarcomere, actin and myosin, do not shorten. This is when the impulses reach the muscle cell, when the calcium ions gets released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum of the troponin, and the tropomyosin that is covering the actin binding site will be pulled away. This will then connect the actin and the myosin where they will connect to each other. This is called a cross bridge. After this process, ATP gets released, causing the movement of the actin turning into a power stroke as the muscle has gone into relaxation. ATP then gets converted into ADP. A myofibril is a row of sarcomeres, so therefore this process will be happening throughout the whole myofibril. The sarcomere is divided into bands. There is an I band, an A band, and an H zone. The H zone consists of thick myosin. When a muscle fully contracts, you will not be able to see the H zone anymore, as it gets smaller as the muscle contracts. The I band also shortens, however the A band doesn't. During this whole contraction, the actin and myosin never shorten as they slide past each other, hence the process being called the sliding filament theory.